Hi, my name is Ashwani Kumar. In this video, we are going to see this topic, that is conductivity of a semiconductor with temperature. So before going to this video, if you are not subscribed with my channel, please do subscribe. And at the end of this video, if you like this one, please give me one like and share to your friends and GATE aspirants. If you will be having any queries regarding this video, then put your queries in the comment box. See, while coming to the conductivity of a semiconductor, in the previous video, we discussed that in a semiconductor, as per the energy band diagram of a semiconductor, we will be having the two bands. One is the valency band and the second one is the conduction band. So valence at T is equal to 0 kelvins. Okay, T is equal to 0 kelvins. The valency band is completely filled and the conduction band is completely empty. That means we are not going to get any kind of free electrons in the T is equal to 0 kelvins. And while coming to the second case, that is T greater than 0 kelvins, that means if I'm increasing the temperature, then automatically the thermal excitation will take place. That means if I'm increasing the temperature, then the thermal energy gets absorbed by the valency electrons, and after absorption of this energy from the thermal energy, they get excited and enters into the conduction band. The electrons which are entered into the conduction band are called as a free electrons, and these free electrons are responsible for the conduction. So that's why these electrons are also called as a conduction electrons or free electrons. So now at T is equal to 0 K. Okay. So as we discussed that in the previous video, it is the EC, that means the conduction band minimum energy level, and it is the EV, that means the valency band maximum energy level, and the gap between both these two levels is called as a energy band gap. That is EG can be given as a EC minus EV. Okay, so it is an energy band gap, and this gap also can be called as a forbidden energy band gap. That means the electrons are not going to lie in this region. Okay, so this forbidden energy gap is nothing but it's a completely empty band, that the electrons are not going to lie in this band. Okay, so now if any one electron has to excite from valency band to conduction band, then the minimum energy we have to supply to this valency electron is EC minus EV. Then only the electron starts exciting towards the conduction band, and the electrons which are present in the conduction band are responsible for the conduction through that material. So now at T is equal to 0 kelvins, the energy band gap can be represented as a E suffix G naught, where here naught represents the T is equal to 0 kelvins and Eg is the energy band gap. So if it is a silicon, then the Eg naught, that means the forbidden energy band gap at T is equal to 0 kelvins, can be taken as a 1.21 electron volts. Okay, it is for the silicon. And if it is a germanium, then the Eg naught, that is the energy band gap at T is equal to 0 kelvins, can be given as a 0.785 electron volts. Okay, so 0.785 electron volts is for the germanium and 1.21 electron volts for the silicon. Okay, both these two are the energy band gaps of the silicon and germanium materials at T is equal to 0 kelvins. And if in case if I increase the temperature, then how the energy band gap is going to vary. So here energy band gap is inversely proportional to temperature, that in the semiconductors especially. That means if I'm increasing the temperature, then energy band gap is going to be reduced. So how this energy band gap is going to be depend on this temperature is that we are going to see now. Eg can be taken as a Eg naught minus beta into T. Okay, so Eg is equal to Eg naught minus beta into T, where beta is a material constant. Okay, so in this case, while coming to the silicon, in case of silicon, beta can be given as a 3.6 into 10 to the power of 3.6 into 10 to the power of minus 4. It is a metal constant of the silicon. And while coming to the germanium, this beta can be given as a 2.23 into 10 to the power minus 4. Okay, so it is a case of betas in the silicon and germanium. So if in the problem they ask you to find out the energy band gap at a T is equal to 300 kelvins, means what you have to do is that If it is a silicon, then we have to take Eg is equal to, where Eg naught for silicon is 1.21 electron volts. So 1.21 minus, and beta material constant for the silicon is 3.6 into 10 power. So here 3.6 into 10 power minus 4, and at 300 kelvins. Okay, at 300 kelvins. So from this one we can say that 1.21 minus, and here 3.6 into 10 power minus 4 into 300 means it becomes as a 10.8 into 10 power minus 2. Okay, so this can be solved as, that is equal to 1.21 minus 0.10. So that can be taken as 1.11 electron volts. That means at room temperature, why? Because 300 kelvins is nothing but a room temperature. So that means at the room temperature, the energy band gap is 1.11 electron volts. So at T is equal to 0 kelvins, I am having the 1.21 electron volts. But at T is equal to 300 K, I got the 1.11 electron volts. So from both these two concepts, what you have to understand is that if I'm increasing the temperature, then the energy band gap is reduced here from 1.21 to 1.11 electron volt if the temperature is increasing from 0 kelvins to 300 kelvins. So it is how the energy band gap is depending upon the temperature. Okay, and one more thing is that while coming to the conductivity of a semiconductor, how it is going to vary with temperature is that semiconductors are having the negative temperature coefficient resistance. Okay, so note down this formula, it is very important, and this beta values of silicon and germanium also. So why the silicon is preferable than germanium? Okay, so before saying this one, little bit we will discuss about the semiconductor. That semiconductor is having the negative temperature coefficient resistance. Okay, negative temperature coefficient resistance means if the temperature is increasing, then the resistance is going to be decreased. So it is the meaning of negative temperature coefficient resistance. So generally semiconductors exhibits the negative temperature coefficients, and metals exhibits the positive temperature coefficient resistance. That means in the metals, if temperature is increasing, then the resistance also increases. Okay, so while coming to the semiconductor, if the temperature increasing, resistance decreases, means the conductivity is going to be increased. So why it happens? Because see, in this case, it is a atomic structure of a silicon material. As we said that if the temperature is increasing, then all these covalent bonds are sensitive to the temperature. So whenever the temperature is increasing, these bonds are going to be break down. So whenever the bond is breaking down, then automatically the valency electron converts into the free electron. Okay, so if more amount of temperature is there, more number of bonds are going to be break down, and more number of free electrons are going to be liberated. So if more number of free electrons are there, then automatically conductivity, because the conductivity, as we said, that NQ mu is the conductivity. That means if the N is increasing, N is nothing but a concentration of charge carriers. If N is increasing, then automatically conductivity also increases. If the conductivity is increasing, then automatically resistance decreases. So that's why in the semiconductor, it exhibits a negative temperature coefficient. What it means is that if I'm increasing the temperature, then the resistance is going to be decreased. So how it is decreasing means it is a concept that helps you to understand very clearly. So now coming to our previous topic, that is why the silicon is preferable than germanium. So here a few points are there, and these points are very important for the IES exam. Why? Because in the Indian Engineering Services exam of the electronics and telecommunications, 80% of this concept you are going to get 80%. Okay. So here I am going to say a few points that you have to understand is that why the silicon is preferable than the germanium is, the first point is it is easier to form silicon dioxide layer, which makes the fabrication process simple. That means in the case of integrated circuits, okay, at the time of manufacturing the integrated circuits, ICs, the formation of silicon dioxide layer is very important, and which acts like a dielectric medium between the gate terminal and the substrate one. Okay, that means here the silicon dioxide acts as a dielectric medium, and here the insulated gate formation will takes place. Okay, so to make such kind of things, the silicon dioxide is really silicon dioxide layer is really helpful. So that's why we are preferring the silicon than germanium. And the second reason is silicon has better physical properties and can operate over a wide range of temperatures. That means silicon can able to operate minus 70 degrees centigrade to 125 degrees centigrade. So up to this temperature ranges, silicon will better operate and it won't change its uh, original operation, or it won't deviate from its original operation. And the third thing is silicon is available in large quantities in the form of sand or silicon. That means the resource material that is required to get the silicon is easily available, that is sand or silicon. That is the third one. And fourth one is silicon devices are having the smaller leakage currents. Okay, smaller leakage currents means if I manufactured a PN junction diode with a silicon, then I'm going to get the leakage current. Means if it is in the reverse bias case, that means if the diode is in off state, then the small amount of leakage current will happens, and that leakage current is in the nano amperes of range in the silicon. But while coming to the germanium, the leakage current is in the micro amperes of range. So the actually the ideal leakage current must be zero ideally, but practically we are going to get some minute leakage current, and that is in the nano amperes of range in silicon. So that's why it is one of the major reason why we are using for the silicon. So these are all the different reasons why the silicon is more preferable than the germanium. Okay, so just note it down. These points, these are the very important for the IES exam. And next one. So generally here the elemental semiconductor and compound semiconductor, both these two words are also important. So elemental semiconductor means the pure one, that is silicon, germanium, carbon, selenium, etc. All these are comes under the elemental semiconductors. That means which are going to available in nature readily. But while coming to the readily means after some purification process we will get. Okay, and while coming to the compound semiconductors means it's nothing but combination. It's nothing but we can say it's an alloy or a mixture of some two different materials. Okay, so if trivalent atoms are mixed up with the pentavalent atoms, then the resultant semiconductor is called as a compound semiconductor. Okay, so let's take the combination of gallium arsenide. Gallium is the trivalent atom and arsenide is the pentavalent atom, and the combination of gallium phosphide, here also gallium is the trivalent and phosphorus is the pentavalent. So such type of combination, compound semiconductor can be formed by combining the third group element with the fifth group element. Okay, that means the third group element with the fifth group element is nothing but a compound semiconductor. And such type of materials are useful to prepare the artificial optical sources, just like the LED. Okay, LED is manufactured with the gallium arsenide or gallium phosphide. Okay, it depends upon which color you require to get emit from the LED. So these are the two different types of semiconductors. That is elemental means this basic semiconductor materials, and the compound semiconductor means the mixture of third group element with the fifth group element, just like the examples are of gallium arsenide and gallium phosphide. Okay, so these are the topics we discussed right now. So note it down all the concepts very carefully, and these concepts are useful for the GATE as well as IES. Okay, so please subscribe my channel. If you like this one, give me one like and share to your friends and GATE or IES aspirants. Thank you.